It has been a while, but Toka's making her move now. We've seen her now up and close. The last time we really got any gaze on her, she was, going towards Giltina, and now she's, already there, and she's brought a lot with her. She has brought an entire guild, one would say, to this fight. So the chapter, I was really hoping we'd get some display of Alderon, like maybe he ends up doing some like attack that's maybe part of his daily routine, doing something or other, but who knows? It wasn't required. It was just what I was, expecting, and not like a normal thing for him. Just maybe like stretching for him causes earthquakes or some crazy ass stuff. But the chapter starts out after that, and it's revealed that there are actually multiple cities. But they brought back Julia to rest in the inn after she passed out, and they're a little bit worried because obviously the White Mage, they have suspicions about the guild. And they're like, okay, we're gonna wait until Julia wakes up again, and then we're gonna get information out of her to try and figure out what's going on with the guild. Because obviously, like, if the guild's in trouble, they're gonna leave, but they're not just gonna leave if they're assuming things or suspecting. They want more information. And they discuss more about Alderon. He's got 5 cities on his body, one on each hand, one on each shoulder, and one like on his neck, like directly on the back of his neck. And we see most of his body weight, I would assume. We saw like his torso. We didn't get to see like his legs. I imagine they're proportionate. Let's just assume proportionate, thicker legs with like the same size claw hands. But the tail is where I was wondering too, because obviously a dragon's tail is going to be humongous. And obviously there's a question of like why he doesn't have wings. I'm wondering like maybe if he does have wings, but because he's a wood dragon, they're retractable, maybe it'll come out of his that tree on his back, or maybe it'll grow and he'll like somehow use that as a way to fly. I don't know, some weird idea, but pretty cool so far. Just this massive, big Titan like guy. But then we see that it's actually like he allows people to live here. He doesn't seem to care, and he just kind of sleeps all day. When he wakes up, he's just kind of stretching. Seemingly, he doesn't seem like he really needs anything else. And he's just freaking humongous. Like, look at his big sleepy face. And it just makes you want to pet him. He's a sleepy boy. He's tired. And now, there was a comment that I'm wondering actually if it's the correct number, because they say from this person, this kind of old, priesty looking guy almost, maybe more like robed, creepy priest dude. Says that 500 years ago, Alderon like invited them to live on him. Like they wanted people to come like colonize on top of his body, which makes you kind of wonder because all the Zeref and Acnologia stuff was from 400 years ago, which means that Alderon, maybe he already had like a small town formed on him 400 years prior when Acnologia took place, and maybe that's why he fled. Maybe one of the reasons this character, maybe this one is actually, he was strong enough in planning to fight Acnologia, at least at the time of, or what he thought he was. Like maybe he's like, I can go take this dragon, I think I can take him, but I don't want to risk the city people on my hands. Maybe he likes them. He's been very appreciative of them. It reminds me of I think there was another show that did it before it, but Futurama. You remember when Bender had that little civilization on his body when he was floating through space? Maybe he got attached to him. But it's just kind of like showing around, this kind of like hood person. It's like, oh hey, I'll give you guys a tour around this hand, and there's like a different kind of theme to the area on each of his fingers. He's showing off like merchandise. I wish we got to see the full figure, because they show like an Alderon like figurine, and I wish they showed like the full figure so we can kind of like gauge how big he is. I mean, it's a little bit chibi, but it looks like it would be at least realistically the size, maybe not spot on. And it just shows like different parts. Like I said, the fingers. They go to some big church and they go inside, and there's a comment like there's 2 parts that are messed up. One is they obviously oh hey, we know about your plan. You want to do some way to halt Alderon, but we can't allow that. That's obviously not okay. But another thing is, going against the White Witch, and that makes me wonder, because, then it's revealed that the guild, like this old person is actually Mirror Jane in disguise, and you have all these different members of the guild, pretty much everybody that wasn't there, but I don't see guild arts. I don't see guild arts anywhere. I see, Mako, Lizana, Wakaba, Elfman, Gajil. I'm guessing way in the back. I'm trying to figure out who that might be. I can't really tell. Maybe it's Jet or something. But Max, Warren, Levy, surprisingly missed. Surprisingly missed. Pantherly, Makarov, Jalal, Redis, Droy, Kana, Romeo, Big Slow, Freed, Evergreen, and Laxus, and they're all just like standing. I don't know why I read every single fucking character's name off there, but they're all standing there, and it doesn't seem like it's like bland mind control. This is like seems like pretty deep in just the way that the characters are, the way they're showing personality. It's like she rewrote their entire fucking like minds, but still running the same concept. And then Toka comes forward, and she's like, she's like, "Oh yeah, fucking Natsu, fucking Toka speaks above you, highly about you all the time," and it's just interesting to see. But then she's mentioning how these are the last members of Fairy Tail, so of course she has cleansed them white. And so I'm wondering with her character is like what other maybe like characters throughout the series has she gone after and turned white? Is she gonna be? She could be an easy way to bring other characters back, like maybe like some side characters. Bring in like who hasn't been shown. You could show like I don't know Aragorn or maybe members of the other members of Crime Sorcery, stuff like that. Just kind of like to bring them back, but through Toka they're stronger, so you get to see them fight at a higher level or something like that. Then like she has Elfman and Lizana like go and just like stomp all over Mary Jane. Gaju goes to intercept before anybody in the Natsu crew moves. Or Urza's just sweating bullets. She sees that they have Jalal worried. Like there's obviously some questions there, and they're very worried, very upset. And Toka says like, "Oh, these numbers don't add up," because she's missing Juvia, but she's also missing two of the members of the group, that being Wendy and Gray, who stayed back to watch over Juvia. And Juvia was actually let loose, off the control, like snuck her off of the White Witch's effects from the normal Toka, and now Juvia is communicating with Gray and Wendy, saying like how she has control of them, and she can kill them at any point. At any point, she can just end them, which is really kind of interesting. Like, how exactly does that work? Would she make them kill themselves? Does she have some weird tie to them while she's controlling them that she could just like, because they're like at her mercy, she can just like break it and they fall over dead or something, or they explode, or maybe like their magic wipes out completely and they just die, because magic deficiency sickness is obviously a lethal thing in Fairy Tail. But again, very interesting for Toka. I'm surprised we didn't get like a Dragon Eater sneaking in the scene and getting a moment where they're kind of like there too, because we already got Libieris. But like with Toka, there's the question when she's like, she seems like on board with Alderon right now. She's like, eventually I'm gonna have to do with him, but as it is now, like he's fine. But it makes me wonder, like, does she have like a reason right now that she doesn't want him to get hurt him? Maybe maybe this is where she bases out of that, and the reason why it was easiest, obviously, to start with, is because Alderon doesn't seem to move at all. He just seems to kind of like loaf about all day. Like I said, he's a sleepy boy. I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be raised of the relationship of her, because it would explain why she has a church there. I imagine that, like, her group symbol is the one on all these robes. This weird kind of. Let me look at it again and determine my best guess of what exactly this symbol looks like. The one on the robes, and obviously on the building right before they went in. It looks like some weird like X, like a cross, but like if you wanted to like hyper it up, like it's got like these like almost kunai looking blades around it. Looks pretty cool. Or maybe like angelic feathers, and then obviously the mage staff's crossed. It looks pretty cool. But again, like, if she's got all of her church's baby based out of there, maybe she's got a lot more influence, like secretly. That's one of the things that'll maybe make her as dangerous as Zeref. It's like how more, like hers could be more like secretly kind of scattered, like her forces, whereas obviously Zeref had like overwhelming numbers and force, and Toka's is more secretive. And maybe she's gathered a lot throughout time. I don't know. Maybe they're all collected in the city. That'd be really cool. It's like, okay, you freed all these members, and it's like, okay, how's the character gonna fight one of the Fairy Tail main characters, as they've been, separate each of them, put them on each of the city hands, maybe something like that. Like, okay, and then every single other character in those cities are powerful mages controlled by Toka that she's got to control. Like, she's pretty much using like the idea for Alderon. It's like, a safe home base, because then none of the other dragon gods can just kind of stroll up and be like, I got beef on this chick. If there's any situation where they might know about her, or really anybody that would be like, I want to go take out Toka. Yeah, but her base is on one of the dragon gods. I think that's an interesting concept, because it would add to an extra level of being more like prepared. Because Zeref had a lot to him, and like his skills and capabilities, but a lot of his was like hacks on the fly, whereas Toka could be more like prep, more of like planning. Like she's got like a bunch of like tricks up her sleeve, instead of just being like, I'm a absurdly powerful character. I'm just gonna flex all my absurd magics, curses, and immortality on you. There's a lot to her that I think could be they equal up with that gap with Zeref without needing it, because obviously she would either have to have a Spriggan 12 of her own, and all of these forces, like Zeref had over 1,000,000 soldiers, and as powerful as Zeref was, if she wanted to equal up with his stature. Obviously, we're not going to count space between time absorbed fairy, or space between time linked and fairy heart absorbed Zeref. The white mage Zeref. She's probably more like normal Zeref, maybe in strength, but her forces can't. Her total like squad can't match up with Zeref's. But hers are more skilled because they're like just stealthily all placed around. They got like ears everywhere. They're much more of like informant or undercover. A good backstab trick could end an outgunning. Got him. I almost said, never mind. Outgunned kind of match. Like, okay, they've got 50,000, we've got 3,000. But something happens maybe secretly on the 50,000, and a character backstabs, kills one of the higher ups in like a group, and maybe the disarray falls throughout their crew, and then 3,000. Something involving Toka that is much more kind of like secretive, because that's so far like her biggest appeal is like the fact that she's got a lot of questions about her. You have this character who's comparable to Zeref, but has only existed for 100 years, but she's been very quiet and like hasn't been really found out by anybody. Like maybe one of the reasons why a lot of people don't know about her is like anybody that she reveals who she is, she ends up mind controlling them like this. And maybe that's why characters really don't hear about her. Like any big character that could have been like, oh, something Zeref, like he's as bad as this newer character or anything. Maybe most characters didn't know about Toka because of her ability to mess with people's minds. Whereas as much as Zeref had, like Zeref had a mastery of dark magics, and that includes up to like stuff that we saw. I don't remember if Zash's magic in Dragon Cry, his was a dark magic. I believe so. His was mind control. Obviously, that'd be like, okay, Zeref gets that. I can't remember if it's a dark magic though. But also Mary's dark magic, or black magic, sorry, in the Avatar cult, she could directly apply to a virus in your brain, decay your mind around. That was her. The Zeref was much more like straight on application. Destruction. Annihilation, or just like full control, like through straight up puppeteering. Whereas with Toka, it could be way more just like secret, way more laid out, way more waiting for that time to strike, that like precise moment. A much more tactical kind of character instead of an overwhelming character. But we'll see. There's a lot of interesting aspects to Toka, I think, that bring around her, and the mystery of her is the greatest aspect to her. And there's the obvious upset people are gonna have. I already know people are gonna be upset, or the ship's in danger, because we just saw Urza getting no sweat and bullets. The fact that Jalal's on their side, she wasn't like, oh no, the members of my guild, what's happening? Why are all these fairy tale members, being controlled? She was straight up just like, oh shit, that's you guys have Jalal. What is this? What do I do? How do I take Jalal? And then like after, even when Mira Jane is getting stomped on by Elfman and Lisana, Urza's just concerned about Jalal, because obviously her affection towards him exceeds like how she feels about her guild. Like he's the only character that if something happened like between the guild and like a personal choice, Jalal would probably be the only one that she would probably compromise on. Like it was already really like close back in the Araciel and Caesar, because it looked like she would have went with Jalal by getting arrested. But that small wavering moment like helped keep her straight arrowed. But obviously now, like once we saw that moment back right before the Grand Magic Games where they had that almost kiss on the beach, I imagine that her like feeling towards him have gotten a lot stronger, and so that's very concerning because you look at like Natsu's mad, like he's freaking out too. He's like, "God damn, what the fuck?" And Lucy's just like emotionally, like she's like shaking and like crying, and she's like upset. Whereas Urza's is just like strong emotions. That's gonna be like rattling her, and that's gonna be the thing that makes it like really hard because I still think Jalal is stronger than Urza, but Urza has that kind of like I feel like she has much more of a like depowering effect on the other. I feel like Urza could still somewhat fight him if you put him in a 1v1, normally in character. But I think Jalal rattling Urza this much is gonna completely like make it almost impossible for a fight because like Jalal won't show any emotions other than like aggro emotions, and she's gonna be freaking out by it. I'm very concerned. Yeah, very curious how that's going to happen because that's one of the aspects of them I think would be the most interesting because we could have had Juvia versus Gray round 2 after the events of Alvarez. I like that this though she's not being controlled; she's actually let loose by Toka because it kind of makes a different scene of something that we saw prior. But now we're going to get Urza versus Jalal round 2, but this time it's on a much larger scale, and it's not. It's still Jalal, unfortunately, being like mind affected. Like before, he was kind of brainwashed, but in here, he's just kind of being mind controlled in a way. So but we'll see. Urza's going to be a lot more rattled this time around. It's a lot less of like Jalal's delusional. I have to help him. It's like Jalal's being controlled. What do I do? So we'll see how that goes. Very, very excited. Like, keep throwing me curveball, Mishima and Ueda. Like, I was like, okay, Toka chapter coming up. Then we get Alderon, like, body reveal and how huge he is. Absurd. Well, most of his body, upper half reveal, and then it's like, okay, we're gonna get some Alderon stuff, maybe some Dragon Eaters, and maybe Toka is seen. Toka makes a full confrontation, shows everyone in the guild all in their cultist outfits, and now we got shit going on. Fun, definitely good time. I really love the chapter. I had a lot of like kind of questions. Toka again, mysterious ships trying to sink, bitch. But very interesting character. I think she adds a lot to the series. That kind of like she's furthering a lot of like relationships and plot points by herself without like directly trying to, which is very interesting in its own kind of aspect. But she's also tying into two other large plot lines with the Dragon Eaters and the Dragon Gods. So, like I said, can't wait for the next chapter. 2 weeks, sadly, but we can do it. We can hold this off for another 2 weeks. But other than that, drop a comment below on what you thought about this chapter. I'm going to try and wrap it up. It's almost 20 minutes in. And tell me where you all thought about this. I really appreciate you thumbs up the video, befriend the like button and subscribe button, befriend the channel, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.